Protesters clashed with U.S. law enforcement officers in Los Angeles on Sunday during the latest demonstrations against immigration raids that swept across California over the weekend. The clash came after agents from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and other federal law enforcement agencies raided several locations in Southern California on Friday, which sparked mass protests. For more on this, let's now speak to SABC News Correspondent Nick Harper, who is live for us in Washington, D.C. Nick, a very good afternoon to you. So one of the contentious issues was the deployment of the more than 2,000 National Guard troops by President Trump, with many protesters, of course, arguing that involving the troops will escalate tensions. So what's the latest on the ground now?
That's right. Now we're entering day 5 in Los Angeles of these protests since they started last Friday. We've seen them grow, we've seen them escalate, and overnight, Monday night into Tuesday, we saw more confrontations between protesters and police. But as you mentioned, there is that fear with National Guard being sent to the scene. There could be an escalation beyond what has already been seen over the last few days. Donald Trump ordered over the weekend 2,000 National Guard to be sent to LA, but late on Monday he ordered an additional 2,000 to also be deployed, so doubling the number to a total of 4,000 National Guard. Now, not all of the initial 2,000 had arrived in the city, so it's unclear exactly how long this full complement of 4,000 troops will take to arrive in Los Angeles. But on top of that, he's already mobilized 700 Marines to be heading to Los Angeles. The thinking is they could be there in the coming hours, potentially on the streets, as demonstrators prepare for more protests later in the day. It's still very early Los Angeles time, about 7:30 in the morning, but the expectation is there will be more protests. And as you mentioned, that real fear on the protesters' side and that accusation against the White House that by sending heavily armoured, heavily fortified troops onto the streets on top of the LA Police Department who are already there, it only creates the possibility of escalation, the possibility of confrontation, and maybe even violence as well.
I mean, wherever we're reading our news, we understand, of course, that these recent raids are part of the president's aim to enact what's called the biggest deportation operation in U.S. history. Speak to us about, that process. What have we seen from ICE up to so far in terms of the businesses that they're targeting, individuals also that they have managed to seize?
That's right. All of this sparked on Friday by immigration enforcement raids that took place at a few different sites. One of them targeting a Home Depot store. That's a home improvement place that people can buy things that they might need to improve their homes. But it's also a place that we know day labourers who are often illegally here in the United States without permits to work congregate in the hope of being able to get work for the day. And we saw ICE, immigration enforcement agents, heading there to try and find people who are in the country illegally. All of that creating tensions in a community. And for Donald Trump, this is very much part of his plan, part of the campaign promise that he ran on to carry out the largest deportation in US history. We've seen plenty of that over recent months, raids with people being picked up, put on planes to various countries around the world, including to South Sudan. This is a continuation of this. The White House saying that they are happy to have this fight, pushing back against the illegal immigration problems as they see them in the United States. But also it's worth noting that they have taken the fight to the largest democratic state in the United States, run by a Democrat governor, the city run by a Democrat mayor, the Republican White House making it very clear that they are happy to take this fight onto the streets of Democrat-run cities because they feel that the Democrats in charge of those cities and states simply do not have the situations under control.
Nick, as we wrap our conversation very quickly, just give us a sense in terms of other cities that have joined, in protest. We know, of course, the escalation is largely in California, but what are other large cities looking like?
We've also seen protests in San Francisco, also in the state of California. On Monday, New York saw protests, and overnight last night, we saw Austin, Texas, also the site of protests. Protesters there gathering outside of the Texas state capitol. So already it is spreading, already it is growing, and the thinking is that we could see more cities embroiled in this over the coming days.
Nick, thank you so much for that update. Nick Harper is SABC's news correspondent live for us in Washington, D.C. as we continue to monitor those protests.